Hello everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good night, whatever it may be where you're watching. This is Mike at Herd 360, and first off, let me ask you if you would please go and hit that subscribe button so you get all of our latest and greatest videos and tech tips and product information, that kind of stuff. And I really appreciate y'all following. It helps a lot. And let's see, what are we going to talk about today? Our latest release, the Herd 360 Solar Pack, the X3. This is our third rendition or third generation of the our commercially made for us manufactured solar packs. This was supposed to come out back in November, and we had a little hiccup with getting them into the country, and so we've got them and released them, and they've been a big hit so far. And I wanted to just kind of go over some things, what led us to this. All right, had a lot of questions about what's different and that kind of thing. So first off, let's take a little history trip back in time to our first production model, I guess. Let me see if I can even get all of this in the camera. This was our first production model, and let's see if you can see it. Yeah. All right. You see our nice little logo right there? Isn't that pretty? Anyway, you can see it like this. This, I don't know what date this takes us back to. Versions of this probably go back to 2017-ish, sometime in there. Prior to that, there were some really rough models that I was just building for myself, and really kind of finding out what worked best and what I was trying to accomplish. And then popularity of my own product for myself got the best of me, and everybody wanted one, and so we started producing this model here that was more streamlined and easier to produce for folks and duplicate, and I could do a bunch of them at one time. This is a 10-watt solar panel. This right here, you'd put some straps through it, hanging on a tree like so. It'd be hanging on a tree like that. There's still some of these out there running today. I get customers occasionally say, man, that thing's still going strong. And you would open it up and insert your battery. We hand glued all this stuff, hand cut the foam and glued it. There's your solar charge controller. Your battery would go there. Some versions of this had a voltage regulator for the 6-volt versions, so that you could run a 6-volt camera safely off of it. Our handmade chew-proof cables, that stainless braid was made for me here in the States, and then we'd stretch it over to cables. Anyway, so that was really our first production model. But it got to be, I couldn't keep up. And I don't remember if it's like 2019, 2018, I was so far behind. I was like months behind trying to build those things and get them out the door. And I had been searching and searching and searching for a manufacturer to make them for me. And I found one that was already making a small version. Some of y'all have seen these on Amazon and stuff, something similar to this. And I approached them about making me a much larger version. And that's when we came out with this. This was our SPP 1020. 10 stood for 10-watt panel, and then the 20 stood for 20 amp hour lithium battery pack. So it had it had 10 18650 cells. They were 2000 milliamp hour cells, and it was 20 amp hour total. Had a 12, 9, 6 and, output, and then you had your 5-volt in to charge it. And then immediately, I really wasn't happy with this version. This wasn't where I wanted to end up, but it worked great. It fit the need, and it helped me test the market and see if we could actually if the market would support it. So immediately went to work designing a second one. Let me get some of this junk off of here. Many of y'all are familiar with that. This was our second model, and it ended up actually on the market under some other brands, but we are the creators of this. We are the ones that came up with this idea. Unfortunately, our factory didn't have so much integrity that they kept it exclusively to us. So anyway, that's a whole nother story, and we're not going to go down that road. But this is the 1025. Okay, many of y'all are familiar with it. Very similar to this one. Made some changes where we added and this idea came from a customer of mine. He said, man, it would be great if I could hang this on my deer blind and power my cell phone off of it. And I said, that really is a great idea. I don't know why I didn't think of it. So that's where these USB ports came from. So there's a 5 volt out, or 5.5. And you can charge your cell phone. You can run a tablet. I've actually got a customer in Hawaii. They go back into the wilderness in Hawaii and do studies on animals, and she uses it to power her tablet and her cell phone back in the backcountry. Other than that, same, it had the 9, the 6, the 12 output. Still, again, 10 watt panel. The battery size was increased a little bit to 25 amp hours with 10 2500 milliamp hour 18650 lithium batteries. Other than that, very similar to the 1020 in build. And then that leads us to the latest and greatest, our newest X3. What is the X3? The X3 is built off of the 1025, the Gen 2. And what I did with this is let's go over these real quick, the accessories. There's your mount. This is what it comes with, okay? You get a cable here that's a 4.0 by 1.7. That's the plug that you plug into here, 4.0 by 1.7, 4 millimeter by 1.7 millimeter. That's the 4.0 is the outside diameter, and 1.7 is your internal diameter where your center pin goes in. So this one is this one on the other side is a 5.5 by 2.1. That's going to fit all your like Browning stealth cams, the new Black Gates. It'll plug into even some of your Go Lives and Go Cams, the new Go Cam 2s. Your Ridge Tech's going to fit the Ridge Tech, Moultrie's, Brownings. I probably said Browning. A lot of cameras out there use that 5.5 by 2.1. Then you get one that's a 4.0 by 1.7 to 4.8 by 1.7. And we started labeling these guys for you guys to help y'all out. So this is all new for the X3. And then you get one that's a 4.0 by 1.7 by 4.0 by 1.7, plugs into here, and then it'll plug into your Tacticam, your Wiseye, a few other cameras on the market. The old Go Cam, the original Go Cams, you would use this on the 6 volt output port on this. And then this one's new. This is a USB-C to USB-C plug, okay? I'll talk about that in a second. And this is a USB-A to USB-C. You can charge your cell phone off of that. Same with this. You can plug it into the USB-C out. And then this one here is your USB to 4.0 by 1.7. You can use this to charge it, plug it in that 5 volts, plug that into a cell phone charger, and charge it that way. Or you could use this on the USB out if you had a camera that was a 5 volt camera, because that USB out is going to be 5 volts. And you could run a 5 volt camera if it had that same size DC plug. That's really not what we put it in there for, but it does work for that. And then, of course, your wall charger. DC charger, and then a strap. You can use this strap, it'll fit through here, and you could strap it straight to a tree. Not the most ideal situation, but if you got a camera that is not getting a ton of power, events, it's not using a lot of power, and you get a good bit of sun, you can strap it straight to a post or a tree instead of using the angle. I like to use the angle brackets, and they work really well. All right, I'm gonna get rid of this box, and we're gonna talk about what brought us to the X3, okay? So here, over here, I got a pile of solar panels, right? A lot of people call these solar panels. This is not a solar panel, this is a solar pack. This is a solar pack. But people generically call them solar panels. It has a solar panel on it, but it's not a solar panel. These are solar panels. The piece that was bolted to our Gen 1, our original one, not Gen 1, but our original solar pack, that's a solar panel. This is a solar panel. Okay, so we got a whole pile of these. This one here, that would be the original one that you find on the 1025s. You see that carbon fiber look, that's a anti-glare coating, and sometimes that coating, it's easy to scratch. I don't like it, never was happy with it. It also can flake off and come off in the sun. If you scrape all that off, it actually performs better. Just for a heads up, if you got one that's doing that, just go ahead and scrape it all off and you'll actually get more performance out of that panel. But these, so you see another one there, it's a different type material. It's also, you'll see the design of the PV cells, the photovoltaic cell, I don't know how you say that, I probably said it wrong, but the PV cells. So you'll see a little different design there, and then you can kind of see, maybe you can see in the light the different designs. So different designs produce different results. Some of them work better than others and are more efficient. Also, that also has to do with how many you have, how many of these bars, and how it's all wired together depends on your voltage of the panel. So not all panels produce the same voltage. So you see here's another one. These are bigger. These are like 20-watt panels. Another much larger one. And then another one. This one's basically the same as these, and you will find this panel material is what we used in the X3. So why did we decide to go with that over the one that was there previously? Well, and you'll see if you look close, you'll see some marks on here in grids. So that's what I did a little over a year ago, I guess, or maybe 2 years coming up this summer. I started testing different panel materials, different panel designs. And I use these grids so that I could cover the panel with shade. So in the middle of the summer, when the sun was directly overhead, I didn't have a laboratory to actually have a constant light source, but summertime works well. And in the middle of the summer, I was covering with shade. I was holding something up to cover shade and using these marks to measure how much I was covering it. And I did that repeatedly with all these different panels. And each time I was logging the power output of the panel, the voltage and the amperage and the wattage that we were reading, or that I was reading on these under different scenarios with different amounts of shade. And my goal was to find a panel that was better at producing power under adverse conditions than the original one. This one worked well. It's oversized. It's 10 watts. Under ideal conditions, under ideal conditions, you don't really need that much power for a trail camera, especially a non-cell, but even a cell cam. So under ideal conditions, this is even overkill. But we hunt, we're in the woods, we're putting these things on field edges, and everything is not ideal, right? The situation is not perfect. So I was in search of a panel that I could improve on the original 1025 and just make it more efficient and better. And that's where we ended up with this one. I found that it produced more power under shaded condition. Now, not total shade. If you took every one of these and put total shade over them, even though maybe you were in the sun, you just held up something that completely shaded it out, but you were still out in the wide open sun, the output of the panels was very similar. It's just the way that it is. When you cover all the cells, all these little cells in here, it just can't produce. Solar is what it is. It's very inefficient, but it's free. The sun is free. We can use that and harness it and make power and not have to keep buying batteries, which is why I originally started doing all of this, was because I didn't want to have to buy batteries. So, and even still, guys, it's not a one and done for every situation. So there's still cases where I'm running 12-volt rechargeable batteries. I've got some lithium battery packs, and I'm down in the bottoms, and I got a camera that may get a lot of activity, and unless I'm running one of these massive panels or something down in there, it's just not going to produce. Or maybe I'm trying to be more covert, and so I'll run a battery pack. But for solar, which is the most popular for everybody, that's where we ended up. That's the difference. That's the main difference in this new X3, is a more efficient. And not only was it more efficient at producing more power, we were also able to get 11 watts out of the same physical size. So no change to the physical body, but we were able to increase our voltage production, wattage production, and efficiency under adverse conditions. So there you go with that. What else is new? Another thing about this one is something I started testing these, and it kind of, you're going to find that I've already seen what I think is another one. It's another version of our 1025 that somebody sourced with 212s, but I came up with that idea, and unfortunately, it is what it is. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but I started testing these with dual 12s about 1.5 years, 2 years ago, and went through 3 different prototypes, and finally they were able to produce one that worked correctly for me, and so that's what we have. So 12, and 6, and then still your 5-volt in charge. The USB out was another change we did. Had some customers that wanted to run like a security type camera, the Reolink, or I think there's some others out there, and even like the Arlo Goes, that take like a 5.5 volt input to power the camera or charge its internal battery. Originally we would use these, and they worked okay. They would work as long as that camera was pulling that battery down. But if we got into a situation where this was able to fully charge that camera, because this was designed to charge cell phones, this unit right here would sense that the battery was full, it would shut down. The only way to reset it was to go back out, unplug your cable, plug it back in, and then it would reset. So I had the factory also make this a constant source. The USB-C, the smaller one, is now a constant source. It's not going to shut off for you like it would before, where you have to go out and unplug it to reset it. So you'll be able to power your cellular security cameras as well using that 5-volt out, if that's the voltage that they take. So other than that, pretty much everything else is the same. This one here needs to be charged up. It's dead. But I just pulled it out of the box. So guys, when you get these things in, it's the first thing you should do: charge them up. Don't let them. Don't try to put them out there and let the sun charge it up, because if it's trying to power your camera and charge it at the same time, that's just not going to happen. So get these out there, charge them up, and or get them charged up, then get them out. I guess that's really it. Some guys ask, what's the difference between these and the Tacticam, these and the Blackgate, these and the WiseEye? Those are questions I've had over the past few days. All of those are, just fine and great, and they work good for what they are. And in a lot of situations, that's all you need. And if that's what's working for you, go ahead and buy those. I'm not going to tell you not to. The difference between ours and theirs is, I guess the biggest thing is ours can just do more work. It can provide more power. You know, there's your little Amazon Wing Home deal. You see the difference. This one can't do the same amount of work as this one. All right, think of this one as a Ford Ranger and this one as an F-350. You can't do the same amount of work with a Ford Ranger as you can with an F-350, and you know, there you go. I'm a Ford guy, so sorry for you GM guys, but anyway, Mike, Herd 360, thanks for watching. I know it was long, mine usually are, but I wanted to give you as much information as possible and explain everything about these suckers. So y'all have a great day.